Would you all please stand for a moment of silent prayer? Amen.
Amen. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will call the February 2nd, 2016 meeting of the County Commission to order at 9:01 a.m. I want to thank everybody for coming out. We've got a full house, so if anybody else comes, we'll have to find a place for them to sit, but we'll get through this, no problem. You all have the, well, let me go ahead. At 10 o'clock, we have to recess and call a meeting of the Board of Equalization and Review. So we'll try to get as much done before 10 o'clock as we can. You all have the meeting, or the minutes of the meetings from January 5th and January 19th. Have you had a chance to review them?
Yes.
Not hearing any corrections or additions, the minutes will stand approved as read. Okay. We have the list, and Don Cumston, do you wish to speak? Just
the director, John.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, Tammy Beamer.
Yes, I do want to speak.
Okay, I'm speaking today concerning the health department changes that may be forced to be made. It was brought to my attention over the weekend that the budget, this West Virginia state budget that was presented by the governor, has a 25% cut in the public health for the local health department. Okay, on top of that, there is West Virginia Senate Bill 372. I'm going to hand this to you. You have it? Okay, do you have a copy? Which is going to give the Commissioner of Public Health the right to come into counties and regionalize our health departments. I would like to ask the County Commission to, and I know you can't do it today, but be put on to an agenda to make a proclamation asking the governor to reduce or do away with that 25% cut, and for this bill to be voted down. To stand, in other words, to stand against the two. We got our health department up here. It pretty well stands on its own. Y'all give about $65,000 a year to it. I just think that we need to support them like they have supported us.
Okay, thank you for that. Mariana Bierman.
Thank you. At the last county commission meeting, I was trying to make a comment during your discussion on one of the agenda items. I was told at that point in time that I would not be recognized because I had spoken during our public comment period. I want to know if I can reserve the rest of the time I have for this 5-minute period to speak during one of the agenda items and be recognized.
your time is during public comment period. If whatever you have to say it now.
Okay, so basically, you do not want, other than the 5-minute public comment period, you do not want citizen participation during the county commission meeting, unless a citizen is on the agenda. Am I correct in that interpretation?
Sounds reasonable to me.
What about Ronnie?
But I got a question about that right there. I don't understand. I understand where you're coming from, I really do. But I don't understand if you're on the agenda, like you said. If you're on the agenda, is that going to give you the right to speak during the meeting anytime? Is that what you just said?
No, just as the agenda item. Just during the time you're on the agenda, not any time at all.
Well, I must have misunderstood.
Okay. I'm just concerned.
Robert's Rules of Order, I believe, indicate that you have to be recognized in a public meeting to speak. And West Virginia state law says that you have the right to speak during public comment period. And that's what we're observing the law. So.
Well,
All right,
I still have something to say. I'm not done. Okay.
Is this taken away from my 5 minutes?
I don't know. If it is, I'm sorry. But I think that this commission should recognize people when they have something to say about what we're discussing. And that's just no more than your right to speak.
Thank you. I just feel that under some of the terms that you guys ran for office, you ran some of the comments that were made during some of your speeches and the interviews, etc., that you were open to public participation. And I feel that this particular action at this particular point in time is directly opposed to that. So thank you for this opportunity for me to speak.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll get on to today's agenda. First on the agenda is Mr. Cam Wilson.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Oh, okay, sorry, I forgot once again.
Okay.
County commissioners have the right to speak.
Okay, thank you, Mariana, for speaking out. I am a firm believer of participation if it's under control. I see no reason why people can't speak for an issue. Thank you. Next thing I would ask to put on the agenda for Friday would be a proclamation to be sent to the governor about our health department issues. You're going to tell me that it's too late to put it on the agenda. I'm going to tell you that we can put it on as an emergency issue. Thank you. Thank you. Whatever.
You mean for our Board of Equalization and Review?
No. For the health department, what Tammy spoke about the health department, I think we need to send something to the governor's office opposing what they want to do.
I understand what you're saying,
Okay.
but are you saying that you want to put on the agenda for our Board of Equalization and Review meeting?
That's as close as meeting as we can come to, yeah.
Is there any problem with that?
It's an emergency issue. I think that's fine.
Okay.
As long as there's enough notice.
Okay, that's fine.
If we wait till our next regular meeting, it's going to be too late. Thank you. That's all I have.
I just want to thank all you guys who served this country, who are here, and ones who died for this country who are not here today, for serving this great country we live in.
I want to add my comment or opinion to the, I agree with what Ronnie said. We owe you all a great debt of gratitude. And you have my respect. It took a lot to serve your country, and I appreciate that.
I feel the same way, everybody in this room. I'm a veteran myself, and I know where everybody went through, and I appreciate everybody coming out for our meeting today. Thank you very much for serving our country.
Can you clap?
Okay, now, Cam Wilson, ES&S Electronics.
Good morning.
Morning.
Beth asked me to come out this morning to talk to you guys about our electronic poll book, which I think she's pretty interested in just streamlining the early voting process. We have about 10 active accounts in West Virginia. Of the biggest users of this product would be Montague County, Ohio County, Jackson County. They use it in a fuller capacity, early voting and election day. But for you guys, I think you were interested in 2 units for early voting. And so I'll do a really brief overview of the product. Obviously, I'll spend some more time with Beth after the fact, but this is our Toshiba-based electronic poll book. It comes in this case, which will be deployed to the polling location. This opens up. All of their supplies are in here. It's a Lazy Susan stand that plugs in, powers the unit, spins around for signature of the voter. The poll worker spends about 99% of the day in the after they open the polls, which are as simple as closing the polls or opening polls, and then they go to their issue ballot and they search their voter roster. They'll search by their last name. I'm just going to put one up here. They select the voter. They're going to verify. You can see all of the information that we will load onto this unit comes from your statewide voter registration system. It's a very quick load. You do it with the thumb drive. They come in, they check the date of birth, the age, all your points of verification for the election. We're going to go through issue a ballot. We have an electronic signature that was captured previously from other elections, which is within your state registration system. They'll get their signature, rotate it around to the voter, okay, on that Lazy Susan. They're going to sign with, there's a stylus, little pen as well. The voter's going to select OK, rotate it back around. At that point, the poll worker will verify their signature is matching the one on file. They're going to accept that, issue a ballot, and here we are, we're ready to check in another vote. So it's a 25-second process, depending on how you need to direct the voter on what the situation is. But it's new to the marketplace. A lot of jurisdictions across the country are going to this.
Is there a printer then that?
There is. So I didn't have power today, so I didn't want to do that. But there's a little printer that goes side by side with the unit. And here's this is just a poll slip. That's just a poll detail slip, which tells the voter if they come into the wrong polling location, this is where you're supposed to vote. And a voter credit in West Virginia, I believe, is has to be attached to the ballot stub or the poll slip together. So that is just we can set this unit up any way you would like it, customize it to Beth's liking, with the screens and the instructions and whatever you want these slips to say, any way you want. So we've been talking about this for several months and tried to get me down here to show you guys, and today's the day. So
Just for every precinct?
this would just be for early voting, and yes, you would have all your polling data loaded on the sheet. Yes, sir.
We used it, what year was it? 2010.
2010, you did a pilot,
2010,
right?
We were pilot county, the Secretary of State's office, and we had something similar at that time. And the poll workers really liked it. There were a lot of bugs in it at
That was
that
our first
time.
generation.
But that has been worked out, and this is not going to the Secretary of State. It's approved by them, by those laws, but you go through them, and it has worked really well in the counties that have it. I, at this point, do not want to take it out to the precincts. That may be some in the future, I don't know. But I would definitely like to have it for early voting, because sometimes we have 2 people, and early voting can get really hectic, and it would be really nice to have this for early voting especially.
We have Pleasants County uses it for early voting. Upshur, I believe, uses it for early voting. It's just a good way to start. We just sold Monroe and Greenbrier County. The same kind of scenario is what we would propose to you, 2 units, early voting. It's just a good way to start, get used to the process, working with us, working with the Secretary of State's office. And then if you want to further that streamlining process across the board, we already have kind of the background and preparations already up front that you can handle. You kind of know, okay, well, let's roll it out across the board and see what happens. So
I think some counties too, they use them like in their larger precincts.
Yep.
That they'll pick precincts that have exceptionally, I'm not saying anything against my poll workers, I have really good poll workers all across the board. But you get one that's exceptionally good at their work and stuff, and it's good to try them out then, and if you want to do that later on, try them out in some of the larger precincts maybe or something. But I would definitely like to start it from the whole.
What's the cost, sir?
they're about $1,200 a piece. I believe I gave you a quote. I'll have to get you another one, but the price hasn't changed. For the kit, the entire setup, it's around $1,200 a piece. I'm not the sales guy, but here they for that. It's not any more than that.
You need 2 units?
I'll supply her with another quote and up to date on.
Well, I said to what do they usually do with they have in counties comparable to our size. Do they have one?
Like Pleasants, they have 2. Monroe, Greenbrier, they got 2. We recommend about 1 unit per 1,000, 1,200 registered voters. But for an early voting scenario, it's a different sort of flow. It's spread out over time. I recommend the second as a backup. You're going to function with the one, and technology's technology. You want to be prepared across the board. With your IVOs and anything else, you just want to have your backup. It just saves everybody any headache.
Right.
We usually send 2 out every precinct.
So you're going to provide a
Yep.
quote?
I provided Beth one, I can't remember, a couple months ago, but
Yeah.
it expires after 30 days. The cost hasn't changed, but in order for you guys to make the procurement, we'll have to issue.
So do we want to table this until we have that quote, knowing exactly what we would be spending? Is that acceptable?
I'll get that to you, it'll be right around the budget. Okay, all right, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir. Thank you.
We probably ought to have a motion and
Move
table.
we table till we get further information.
All right, we have a motion to table. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, Mr. Calhoun.
Yeah, but may it please the court. My name is Jack Calhoun. I think you all know me.
Speak into the microphone, please.
I can do that.
Okay.
I'd like to give you, I'm here on behalf of J&J Flowers. I'm sure you people have heard this. I'm sure you've heard we don't have a light. But I'd like to give you a little story. Do I have time, a few minutes for a story?
Sure.
I'd like to tell you about the Calhouns in business. I am in Doddridge County. I was born in Doddridge County. Not a whole lot of people can say that. My grandfather's on the state seal. My dad opened one of the first businesses here in West Union, 1917. A repair shop down about where the factory is. From there it became put in a big white building that some of you might remember. It said W.T. Calhoun across it down next to the senior citizens. That's where he raised his boys. It's finally developed to where Bridge Chevrolet was in Napa now. We all grew up here, me and my family. There's 5 of us boys. We all were in the service. I might mention in the Navy just so these guys here know where I stand. And so I just wanted to get across that we're not someone that just moved in here. We're a family that's been in business in West Union off and on for years. And so about 23 years ago, we opened the J&J Flowers. And we heard this light system and we going to make the city beautiful. We was all excited. We talked about it. We were going to have flowers and stuff put around. We'd be keeping the place lit around the back ever since we've been there, because we've been broke into a few times. But always was dark. And that hasn't changed. It's still dark. So when this was going on, we was all excited. We were going to get a new sidewalk, all these good things. As things went on, they pulled in with a bunch of trucks, took over the parking lot. For about a week, we didn't have a place to park. They was nice, they let me park, but the customers had to go somewhere else. So they tore up the parking lot pretty good, but we were still excited. We was going to get a good sidewalk. And sure enough, they started on the sidewalk and busted the water pipe. The gas line went bad. They got mad and left for a while. Left us all tore up. So Mother's Day is coming up, and that happens to be probably the biggest day of the year, unless it would be Christmas. You'll tell me Valentine's Day, but I didn't see it that way. But anyway, they managed to have me closed for Mother's Day. We walked in and out the back door for many days there. So then they got ready and they moved up about across from Virginia's. And what they did there, they managed to leave it tore up. They took the sidewalk out and left it all with wood for about, I think, close to 3 weeks. Well, that's 3 weeks. People aren't coming to our place. But we're still excited, boys. We're still going to get a light and everything. So all of a sudden, then the word comes down to, you're not going to get a light. He wasn't figured in on this. So my daughter and I went and seen the city. The city said, you know, that's right. You know, they should have took you. We are the oldest building in town on Main Street. We have been in business. We're the third oldest business. Drugstores first, Virginia's second, with the newspaper, we're third. And yet we're on Main Street, and we're not allowed light. So we talked to the American back, told me, he said, you know, the truck had a light pole, we got a new one in. How would you pay the electric light bill if we put that light in for you? I said, sure, we could do that. And so next day, showed up and said, well, we can't do that. He said, I talked to the engineer and he said, there's no way that anything's going to change. That light's got to go right back where it is. So we were right back, but he did tell me, he said, we're going to try to take one of the old lights down on the pole if the power company will let us. Well, I looked at the pole this morning, so I've been broke off one, so the chances there's pretty slim. And unless you go down by our place or come up by our place once a night, you don't realize what I'm talking about. But if you don't have a flashlight and you're walking down through there at night, you're taking your life in your own hands, because number one, the street's bad and you can't see the sidewalk. I want to talk to you about the sidewalk. Set this up, the sidewalk was, Herb can tell me if I'm going wrong on any of this, but they set the sidewalk up. It was, man, it's a sidewalk and a half. Matter of fact, I doubt the Route 50's as good as our sidewalk is. But it also made us a step about that high to get in and out. So Virginia talked to her. He told them, so they come down, they put me in a platform on the back or the far side of the porch. Of course, we can't set anything up on the porch if anyone's going to go by the wheelchair. So basically, Streetscape has managed to pretty well try to put us out of business, and we still don't get a light. Now, if you wonder why I'm here with the commission, we voted you guys in. We voted you in to take care of us. And so that's what we're sort of, why I'm sort of here dropping this on you. I don't think we've been treated fair. Matter of fact, I think we've been treated unfair. It used to be when they had a walking tour, so they always started our place because it is an old stagecoach stop. All these were built in 1846, and he was as old as I am. I wasn't around then. And so what I'm asking you for is for you to see if you can help us out. I think we should have a light. I think we are Main Street. You did manage to change your address, but buddy, we're still Main Street. We're 166. You know? And we would appreciate some help from you. I think my daughter has something to say too, but this is what I thought I'd bring up. We just, how about if I felt like we was discriminated against because we are? And we're not new people. We're people that's had business off and on in West Union for as many years I can't even remember back. So my question is, can you help us? Could call my daughter up here, I promise she won't hit you. She's pretty calm.
I'm used to him calling me all the time. He pretty well summed up everything I want to have to say. We were hurt. We weren't notified about anything that they had planned. But, you know, we try to, when a new business does open in town, we try to give them something, welcome to town. You know, we want the town to grow. But, you know, we feel we're right there where you come in off the 4 lane. And, you know, the light would be fine, but even a sign, something to include us in the town. Because, you know, they did change our address to Main Street, so we are on Main Street.
We've been on Main Street, yeah, we're 203 Main.
But anyway, I just feel like, you know, we try to help the community, we try to welcome people in, we want the town to prosper, but I feel like, you know, we're just kind of hanging out on the end, and by golly, we want something done.
She's a lot cleaner than I have, you seen that? But it hurts us. And the fact is, we try to make our place looking nice. You guys have all been in our place. You know, don't look like it's falling down or anything. But our parking lot is, that's one thing I didn't even mention. While this was all going on, whenever the trucks pulled up in the parking lot, I had everybody from town parking there because they couldn't park anywhere in town. So basically, they closed us down for 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks ago, pretty close. Completely closed us down. And I'm going to tell you, the business is that great to start with, but at least it's nice and one can come walk down and see us. So I do thank the court for listening. If they can do something, I'm asking you to fight the state for us, but because since I understand when you talked to the mayor, he went and talked to the engineer. The engineer said, no way there's going to be a light down there. But I just feel we're in the wrong place. Maybe just because we've been there 22 years, the town of West Union's forgot us. But you might miss us if we were home. I don't know, might not. But anyway, and the only way that you ever understand is to drive up through there of a night and shut your headlights off just for a minute. Then hope to God no one walks across in front. So I thank the court for listening to us. And I ask you to see what you can do with us. And I'd like to come back to the next meeting and see what you can tell me.
Thank you.
You say you were never notified?
Nobody ever talked to us. We seen the picture in the paper and we thought, well, that is, that's going to be something. And no one came and talked to us, did they?
We didn't know, we kept waiting, wondering when we were going to get something.
And of course, we was anxious to get sidewalk. Hey, that sidewalk's been, and man, you will have to admit, we got a sidewalk. It's pure murder to use, but I mean, because for us, try walking up out of our building with a 100-pound fuel spray on your arms and try to step up on the truck. You know?
We had a lot of trouble too when they started. They started the week of Mother's Day. And of course, they dug that all up and filled it in with gravel. The poor old people that were coming in, they couldn't get in because they were afraid to fall over. And then, like he said, to try to pull the van up to load the flowers in, you know, we had to risk our lives to get across where it was at. But we do have a nice sidewalk. You know, it's just a little high, but everything's high to me because I'm short.
Well, normally I think you have public meetings. Is that, you weren't involved when it was
It was
original?
before I was here, but I know there were at least 2. Because I attended one, even though I wasn't working for the EDA, I attended one of those. But there were public meetings, and I assume I saw the newspaper as I found out about it.
I understand, well, let me ask another question. You say you went to the town.
City meeting.
Okay.
We had an appointment with the mayor and the council. And they said, yes, guys, you have been mistreated. Said, we hadn't thought of it until you stopped thinking about it. And then you are one of our main businesses. And we are one of the main businesses. And they said, you certainly should have been that. And like I say, they said, we'll see what we can do. And like I said, Mayor came back and see me, he said, hey, he said, if you'll pay electric, we've got that light where it was in the wrong place and a truck hit it coming out of Harvard. And he said, would you pay for the electric? We said, well, sure. We'd like to get light. We haven't had a light down there. We've been there 22 years. We've been able to lit up our place in front with our own lights, you know, on the porch. Back porch, like I say, I've had a light on it, never shut off for 20-something years.
Well, I feel too, even if we can't get a light, which I understand electrical stuff a little bit, but even if that would be a great place, I think, in my opinion, to have a welcome to West Uniontown sign. You know, just a little decorative thing down there. I mean, if we want the main street, we've got it all fixed up, it's, you know, to attract people in. When they walk, or when they come up around by our house, well, there's nothing there.
And no light, and there's no light at the parking lot. I realize it's our parking lot, but don't cities sort of parking light the streets up?
They said you couldn't use the light?
They haven't said that yet. They said they would see if they could put the old light up that they took down.
Oh, I thought you said that they couldn't use the old light down there.
No, that was a new light that the engineer turned down.
Oh,
He said he could, but I said, when I looked at the pole where the light goes, it's already been cut off once.
Okay.
But somebody's evidently hit it and they put it. And I don't know what you do. Of course, I'm just asking for help, but you are the commission, and that's why we voted you in, to protect you. And if anybody got any power in the county, you guys have got to be it.
Yep, I agree with you, Mr. Calhoun. And I think we, as a commission, we need to do something for you. If the town can't do anything for you, then I think we need to do something for you.
Well, I mean, I understand your situation. I have a couple of problems, and they're basically, if we do this, then what are we going to do for all the rest of the streets in West Union and everybody that wants a street light?
If I can interrupt you just a minute, we're the main street. We're not
Yeah, we're
one of the
Main
other
Street.
streets.
It's
We're
not
on Main
like-
Street.
I understand that, but Main Street goes a long ways. But
Main Street goes from one end of town to the other end of town, right? So, I mean, that's not gonna be the side streets.
well,
So not
but-
everybody's gonna want lights
But
up
what's
there.
going to prevent somebody from saying, my street's just as important as Main Street?
Well, let
Now-
them say that, but our street has got the address, Main Street on it. And we
The-
don't have to have a light.
But we want.
We want something to recognize that we are part of the town.
I think probably you need to talk to the town.
We talked to
That's-
the town, Greg, and that's why we're here now.
Well, I understand. You know, for those who were here, about 6 months ago, we had a church come in and request gravel for the parking lot. And it was a church in the county, and we denied that, and I think the one of the comments that was made by a commissioner was, if we do this for that church, how many more are going to come in and make requests? And so, you know, that's the difficulty that I have. I understand what you're saying.
We're Main
We're
Street.
not a church
We're
or a
Main
business
Street.
that brings money into the town. There's a big difference. There is a big difference.
Well, you should
Okay,
be talking to the town.
we
We have
talked to
talked
the
to the
town,
town. They
Greg,
said
why do
no,
you
don't
think
do
we're
it.
here? Why do you think we're here?
We've tried
We
to.
went to the town, they told us to come to you. You are
Well,
people that are supposed to be helping our town.
They maybe shouldn't have told you to come to us, but.
Well, I think
but-
maybe that's something between you and the town, okay? We are here. We, like he said, we voted you all in. You know, at least listen to us. And if there's no light, I don't care about the light.
I do.
Give us some kind of recognition. You know, this is definitely discrimination.
Do you suppose that in other counties, the county commission puts up signs in each town?
I think you're just nitpicking. I do. I think you're just, you know what?
You're entitled to your opinion.
I am entitled to my opinion, and my opinion is that we have been here for almost 23 years. We have brought business into this town. If we close up and go, good luck to you. And you know, maybe we don't bring a lot of business into the town, but we do contribute. And you wouldn't miss us if we're gone. And if you can't do a sign or something, I mean a little wooden sign, if you can't recognize us as the people in town to try to help this town grow, then I don't want anything to do with you. As far as I'm concerned, I'll badmouth the commission. I'll do whatever I can do. Well, I don't care. I am upset because this is not right.
It isn't right.
It isn't right. This is, you are here to represent us. And right now, I see one person speaking for us. I would like to hear from everybody else.
I mean, I understand where you're coming from. But like Herky said, I understand don't get mad at me, okay? I understand where you're coming from, okay? I'm here, I'm listening to you guys.
Okay.
But now, this thing's been going on for 6 years, the streetscape passed. Right, Herky, something on 5, 6 years?
Started in 2010 with the application.
Okay, there was a lot of, I understand where you come from. There was a lot of things put out in the papers.
Pictures.
Okay, there was a map of the light bulb where they was going to go. Am I right, Herky? I think there was light, where all the light was at, it was supposed to be on the plans. That's been going on for 5 or 6 years.
It's at Main Street. We seen the pictures, but we thought we were part of Main Street. I'm
Well,
sorry,
I mean-
would they change their address?
I've seen the
for us?
pictures, Jack, but it's been so long since I've seen the picture, I can't tell you for sure where a light pole was supposed to go at.
Well, I don't understand. If this is the county commission, forget what's happened in the past about the stupid maps and what was proposed in 2010. Why are we not able to come and ask you? Just forget the background and ask you for something.
Let me ask you another question. Where's the nearest electric pole to you?
Right across
Well, it's
the
in the
front.
building.
Can you put a dusted on line on that thing?
That is what the city said they'd do, and then they haven't said they wouldn't do it. They said they'd do it, and they said then they added that little extra if the power company will let us. And like I said, if you look at the poll, my question is whether they'll let us.
My suggestion is to go back to the town, have them request the electric company to put the pole in a dusted on light on the pole nearest to you. See what they say.
Well, could I ask one little request for information? The next time you come in town, when I turn your lights off.
I'll do that,
turn
Jack.
them off.
I'll be here Friday night.
Okay, just turn your lights off as you come to the old railroad tracks, and you'll see what darkness is.
And I want to apologize. I'm not going to badmouth the commission.
Thank you.
I'm not, because there's enough badmouthing going on about
Yeah.
everything else. But I am disappointed.
I understand where you're coming from. I do understand where you're coming from. I mean, it might be, I ain't gonna say down the road that maybe the EDA or somebody can work to come down your way to redo the whole thing through there and put a light pole like in town West Union. Because at nighttime, the light poles do look good. But I understand where you're coming from.
Well, like I say, big fellas, we was really surprised when they told us, that they would put the light. We said it can't be where it's at because he said the trucks are coming out of that street. And so they were going to give us the town of West Union, which is going to pay the light.
Well, Jack, why you nice to take it down to your place?
Well, I'm thinking about drilling holes in the sidewalk, putting flashlights up and down too, except the batteries cost so much. But what I'm basically asking, I don't know about her, but what I'm asking for is let's talk to your state engineer that turned down the city and see if he wants to turn down the commission too, because he turned down the city and says he can't have that light because it needs to be down there working on it down by Trucking Town.
Well, my response to that, and I don't know that this is the case, but I would suspect that it is, the streetscape had a budget, and it was a grant of X number of dollars, and I don't know what that was.
I looked
for
at
sure.
it day after day, getting all excited about the light we was going to get.
Well,
Every time I pulled it,
but the town of West Union, or the streetscape project had to stay within that budget amount. And I would suspect, now I don't know, but I would suspect that the reason that the engineer said no way is because all the funds were already allocated, and it was going to require significant additional dollars. And so if the if the town was not willing to come up.
They're willing to put the light in, they
And
just,
we're willing to pay for it.
so,
What more can you ask?
Well, I think the thing to do to resolve this is to wait and see if they will put a light there. And if they put a light there, then that solves at least part of your request and part of your problem.
one of my other problems, and we'll get out of here, I know you got a lot to do today. But that's also my parking lot. They destroyed my parking lot. And the town said, call them and talk to the people that did it, which I did. The woman said, well, we'll put it in bid. We'll have to see whether they bid enough to fix your parking lot or not. Just wanted to see what they've done to us, plus the fact they've cost us so much business it is funny. Seriously. Mother's Day probably, I would say, is one of the biggest days that we have. So we thank you for listening. We get.
Sorry I got excited,
Thank you.
but it's something close to me.
We did, I thought that maybe the council, with our information, should pull, I think maybe some word, that they could talk to that same engineer and say, well, why can't they have a light? We're going to pay for the electric. So, and they had the light, and they said, that's, yeah, I didn't think, but look, try that darkness and see.
Why don't you check with the town to see what when they check with the engineer, what they proposed to him. I would suspect that it was...
Said he lost his temper and didn't want to talk about it at all,
Well,
what they told me, and I would be glad to come to the next meeting and bring the mayor with me since he's the one.
Well, I would suspect that what they said was bring a line down through there and put another pole like is uptown. But that's just my supposition. So I can't tell you for sure.
You're telling me you can't work any miracles?
No, I can't work miracles.
Well, we do.
I don't think any of us up here would agree to that we're capable of that.
Well, as I understand in the paper that someone told me that it was there the other day that for people to quit complaining about it, I just started to thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Jack.
Next item on the agenda is VFW and American Legion, and we have to adjourn at 10 o'clock. You suppose we can? Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm not going to take that one. My name is Don Custom, and I've been asked to represent the VFW and American Legion. And we are coming in asking for a one-time help in wanting to go along with what's been going on in the county. We know that there's been a lot of work done out at the park. We know that the courthouse has done a lot of things. Streetscape. We've had a number of things that make things look better, and we got to looking at our honor roll and thinking about what we could do to improve it a little bit. And we've come up with some ideas on it. We also talked to the Doddridge County Board, Park Board, and we would like to be in conjunction with them in adding a new pavilion at the park. And we are two nonprofit organizations who has very little income, and we come to you all asking for some assistance at one time. What we would like to do at the honor roll is bring it up more to date by putting in like a 4 by 4 foot screen that would be, that you could see from down on the street, and this screen would scroll. And there's a gentleman, he's not here, but Rennie Brown already has it on a computer. And I have talked to the high school, and Mr. Ross and his computer classes are looking into the equipment and the capability of having an outside keyboard where somebody could come up there, key in a name, and see if it's on. And it would scroll in, and then it would go back to scroll. We also have looked at trying to get a black granite memorial that would identify all the people killed in action or killed in association with military duty, and put them beside the honor roll, in front of, somewhere close to the honor roll. We've got a price on that, and the price on it is for the black granite. The names are being engraved on it, except for a heading. We haven't come up with a heading on it, and setting it. So we're just coming and asking if, I know you don't do it today, but if you can, consider us in your budget for this year and see if we can get some assistance in doing these things. And hopefully it'll improve for the county as well as, I think most of you are aware that I don't think there's any families that don't have somebody. We do a lot of things with the school. We put the flags up for the school. We do the Patriot Band and a number of things with the school. And when we have parades and stuff, and we also do funerals for people. So we're just asking for your assistance on it.
How much money you do that?
Roughly, we're probably looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of $60,000 to $70,000.
That includes the pavilion, this park, and the one down here.
You have any other questions?
No, thank you.
No, but Donnie, I would like someone, if you guys would, after this meeting's over with, the veterans here, go out there on the steps and we'll might take your picture for us.
Okay.
You all right, you guys?
What, are you,
No, I mean, I'm all for it.
are you,
Down there.
what I would like to see is you separate the dollar amounts for us.
I have them.
Okay.
To some extent.
The reason I say that is it hasn't been circulated very much, but you know we've talked here at the County Commission about adding a judicial annex or other ideas for increasing the amount of space that we have here in the courthouse. And one of the proposals, and it's just a proposal, I mean, it's not even, I mean, it's not set in stone. What we end up having to do here is to determine how much space we need. We don't want to build a 4-story building if a 2-story building will work. We don't necessarily want to build a conventional building if there's some other idea or proposal that would suit us and look better than adding another building. There is one proposal, and I'll just say that it's right down here in front of the building and the courthouse, and it includes the space down there where the veterans roll is. It would be a tremendous option, in my opinion. I mean, it's the artist or the architect's concept was, I mean, it was really beautiful. But it included that and probably adding another, like moving this one a little ways up the hill and adding another one, or vice versa. And so I'm sure that could be incorporated in. It just might take, if that were the choice, then I'd hate to see us spend money and then have to spend more money on that part of it. So we are in the process of getting the space study. As a matter of fact, I think we have a proposal to request proposals for starting that process. First, we have to determine how much space we need. Like I say, that is one part of that, and if you all could hold off until we decide, I mean, I'm all for it too. Now, if this new equipment that you're talking about could be utilized in a new honor roll building, that would be something that we could look at. But as far as that goes, I would like to see us wait for a while until we can get a better idea of the space we need and what we want to look at. Is that something that?
Yeah, that's fine with us.
Okay.
The computer part of it, we can have, and we can put it, well, we even talked about putting it out to the park. But then when we got to talking about it, we said, more people are going to be able to see it if it's here in the town with the courthouse, because that's where it's been for a number of years. If we could even have it in something smaller than what's currently there. I wasn't aware of what you was talking about.
Well, very few people were.
But
I'm sorry.
we could do the computer anywhere. As far as what's there, it's not a bad building, but we would do a little work on it to put a computer in there and have the keypad out, because we don't want the computer out to where anybody can fool with it. We just want a pad where somebody can search a name. So, and I talked to Mr. Ross at the high school said, he's got a project with one of his classes working on. And I don't think that's a problem, so, it can go under different building.
Also, have you talked to I assume you've talked to the park board?
Oh yeah, we've been to the park board meetings.
And they've
agreed that,
okay.
If we can assist them, that they're going to put we'll probably have some flags and things at the pavilion that identifies it as something for the veterans.
Okay. You say you have...
yeah, I have some information here. I'll leave it with you, sir.
Do you have... it's on the agenda. Do we want to break it down and vote on it, or do we want to...
Well, can we move forward with the pavilion at the park? And I understand the rest of what you're talking about, but I don't want to really hold up in the park with the pavilion because spring's coming and I know they want to get it done.
Yeah.
Can we move forward on that part?
I don't see why. It's on the agenda, so... but hold on. Okay. Apparently, Randy indicated that I should clarify that we're not going to do away with, in this proposal, we're not going to do away with the building. We would incorporate that into, and there might be an additional building. But anyway, she wanted me to clarify that, and I hope that I didn't mislead anybody in thinking that we're going to do away with it, and that's not the plan.
Mr. Cottrell's here, isn't he? Then maybe he could come up here and tell us what the plan is for the pavilion at the park, because I'm a little bit confused right now. No offense to you, sir, but I'm just a little bit confused how you guys are going to work this together.
Go ahead.
Dawn and I talked about putting a Veterans Memorial Pavilion at the park, adding a pavilion in an area of the park that would serve as a memorial for veterans. So the board talked about it, and we're for that. We would, with rentals the way they are in the summer, a new pavilion would be nice, and we would be able to rent it out to serve. And working in conjunction with the VFW and the American Legion, it would be a great addition to the park. So, we're for that. We got a rough number to do that and gave that to them to review. So,
the dollar amount?
Yeah, I think it was around 40, between 38 and 40,000 to put a larger pavilion in than what we than the normal ones we have. So, yeah. But I think the primary thing that they were asking is more about the on front with the building.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand that part, but I don't want the pavilion at the park to be put on hold.
Whether we could even, and I don't know what you think, but whether we could accomplish getting it up and running by summer would be a challenge, but I think we could try.
Well, I know, but I would like to act on it today if we had a dollar amount. I can't act on another amount. You can give us a figure. I would like to act on that part today.
Do you have the sheet I gave you?
No.
Okay. On that, if it's okay with you, on that issue, can Mr. Compton and I work together and come to the next meeting with a firm number of construction for a pavilion? Would that be fair?
That'd be fair with me.
Okay. We can do that and be back and be on the agenda at the next meeting with a very firm number on what it would cost to construct a Veterans Memorial Pavilion.
Okay. Thanks, Will.
All right.
Is that?
Yeah, we'll work on that.
Okay.
And as far as the other,
Well,
the computer stuff, we can go ahead and work on and have it completed.
do you have a dollar figure on the computer?
He's working on that right now. in
Okay.
school, so I don't
Maybe
really
you can have that information for the next meeting, and
Okay.
if you all can, if it's just the computer and we may be able to, if you
Yeah,
come back
we
with
can hold off on what we're going to do with the building until we find out
Okay.
what's going as a whole.
Okay.
And the granite thing, we could probably instruct it in or put it in with your new design, depending on how much space was there. The size of it was somewhere in the neighborhood of, it was like a black granite that was 1 foot thick. It was about 5 feet high, and it would be about 7 to 8 feet long. So it wouldn't take up a lot of space to do it. So, and those are pretty sharp. We've looked at some, we went to some other counties and looked at what they've done. But we kind of like the idea of this down here, honoring the ones who gave off. So,
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you. Well, we're pretty close to that at 10 o'clock time when we have to hold our Board of Equalization and Review. We'll have a motion to adjourn, not adjourn, but for a recess. We've got a motion for a recess at 10 a.m. for the Board of Equalization and Review. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We will.
Can we go out and get a picture?
Yes.
Front step. Front. Yeah, hold
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I've been completely in that.
If it's not more than one. But, that also makes
I'm so proud of her. She was working.
Hi, Dave. Hi, Dave.
Okay, we will convene the Board of Review and Equalization at 10:11 on Tuesday, February 2nd, 2016. This is a statement that I have to read at the beginning of every Board of Review and Equalization meeting. In accordance with Chapter 11, Article 3, Section 24 of the West Virginia Code as amended, the Doddridge County Commission will now convene as the Board of Review and Equalization for the County of Doddridge. It is the board's objective to be fair and impartial in all decisions while serving the citizenry of Doddridge County. The Doddridge County Assessor and/or the West Virginia Tax Commissioner will be present as needed and will provide any explanation in regard to the appraisal or assessments of the property in question. The burden of proof is the responsibility of the protesting party as required. Clear and convincing evidence must be presented to prove the values wrong. Number one, by a certified appraisal. Number two, the property on the market for 6 months at appraised amount and results. And number three, other relevant evidence of sufficient weight. If denied relief, you as the protester have the right to appeal to the circuit court. So, do we have any appointments?
I don't believe so. Clerk, do we have any appointments?
Okay, I think we traditionally wait for 10 or 15 minutes in case someone wants to show up. So we'll probably adjourn the board at about 10:30 and reconvene our county commission meeting at that point in time. So there's not a whole lot for us to do other than sit and wait.
Do you want me to brag?
That's always appreciated.
Yes, I will brag. The Doddridge County 4-H Air Rifle Team won the state match in Braxton County this weekend. So our senior team will be going to Nebraska in the end of June to represent West Virginia. And our junior team won first place. So it was kind of a clean sweep for us. So
all right.
Can't feel Scott excited.
Pass that along to them, please.
Yes, I will. You can't, they're still walking on sunshine. Feel them down.
You can't reach them, huh?
Yeah. Very excited.
How many children?
Four seniors. We had two alternates, 4 seniors. The senior team was Parker, Colton Friello, Jake Rumbler, and Abby Thompson. The girls beat the boys. And Abby always shoots her best scores. Oh, I tell you, it's hard for Parker to eat it too, because typically in practice he's always outscoring them, but Abby shoots her best shots and has always shot her best shots during competition.
Good.
So she beat them by 2, and Colton and Parker were scored identical scores. They were 2 points lower than Abby. They both had 6 bullseyes, so the computer had to go in and score them. We could not see their differences. It was fractions of a difference. So Colton was 5th and Parker was 6th. And then, brag on Jack Hudson, had he been a senior, he would have been 7th. So we had 4, 5, 6, and really 7th scores. He scored a 460. Thank God Parker beat his brother, his 4-year-old younger brother. It would have been a long weekend. But Jack shot amazingly well. And he's the same way. He doesn't tear himself up during practice, but you get him in a competition, he's spot on then. So you'll have to really rag him, which they had a great weekend. Lacey Rumbler was 10th, and one new young lady shot 11th, a junior. So Morgan Amick and Alexis Heflin was our alternate, and Zach Amick. So a little smaller team this year, but now that we've won, I'm sure that'll all pick up again. So.
How many were competing?
There were 5 relays, and there was about 27 in each relay. So I think about 127, 130 kids all across the state. Wayne County always has the big shooters. They had 2 kids that outscored us in individual, but they don't have enough for that 3rd person. You gotta have 4 per team. They dropped the lowest score. And so eventually they'll get somebody there that helps them, and they've been there a couple times. This is Doddridge's first time. We're excited.
Good.
All right.
And now we'll go to nationals and raise money to go to nationals. The first national, yes, my first national. Bruce Crockett?
Oh,
Yeah, Bruce Crockett?
Yes.
Yeah. He's good, isn't he? We were kind of an upset. Upset County is slipping to the end. They're not made, they look right now, because they're like, oh, we just lost the 30 points last year, this is in our conference. We are going to play Now, in Monroe County, they have to stay on the shotgun team if they're gonna fly. You know, gas is so cheap. There's surplus property ban. Reserve ban. The shotgun team can fly. Well, I don't know. Green light, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
You know, in some cases, anymore with flights, you're 16 hours, you know, they may be 16 hours getting there, if they're flying out of Mexico, all the different connections and 2 hours.
I tried that.
The American Pickers was in Iowa, they want to stop there, and, you know, they want, and I knew the last week of I was trying to get out of the
I was going bus.
Well, I feel bad I always put somebody in the back seat.
Look how small I am. I'm in the back seat.
Are you still more with me?
I'm gonna be sitting in front of myself.
Commission's already paid
Actually,
Yes, you just have to get yours when you go.
I can't roll.
Are you on the agenda?
Not me.
just give me a chance to talk about it. And we'll talk about it.
Yeah, but she is, we got free to talk about it.
Because you can be over me. So if you have these issues, he doesn't mind going for that.
Just
He's
to get
the biggest one of the fantastic story. I ever have a long time. Oh, it was nice. Yeah. She didn't have to be, it's not big. Really?
Which is great, that's fine.
I'm going to have to call them about.
She only had two, one of them was big, but this is everything else. The other one had 12. Really?
I mean, it was.
They only interesting about, yeah, they don't know, like, I was like, just me and the three of us.
That we might make that one, plus the way she acts. People who she's already some travel control. Well, they have to give their company, have a van. If she wanted it was not Stephen. She already figured out before we got to that meeting. It was me there. They're interested in the dog.
These are private owners on the board.
Really? Down there.
And everybody's, we couldn't have done that.
I remember that meeting last year, and they had all this, everybody the ghost was. I love it.
Pardon me? What is your chair? Chair on the bathroom, the county park. I don't know. I was supposed to bring a 9-year-old. I could tell
I'm sorry, you can't go east.
Yeah, we're playing this, you have to know that from a I mean, I know, but you have to know because when during Rainbow, it's clean on Friday. We found
You ever try to get in with these dogs? They're probably.
Everyone recommended it.
I sit far away from the bathrooms out in the parking lot.
Friday.
What's that?
We got a meeting this Friday, 6 o'clock.
Those bathrooms upstairs, I have a back door, just kind of turn around inside. Oh my gosh. So I'm excited to see all the things you've done. Out there, when you went down into the girls' bathroom, there's a set of double doors. And I said, well, you can see back there. I said, hey, what time is it? I know there's one. I said, look back here.
Betsy, am I doing that right? It's a special agenda meeting, it's just 2 days, not, I already said no. No, it's not, get it posted by this evening.
Oh, proclamation? Yeah. They want to cut, they want to cut everything.
That's cool right now, but
We talked about that.
Where's the lottery money at?
Not to me.
Everything.
Where'd all the money go?
Do I have a motion to adjourn the Board of Equalization and Review? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Do I have a motion to go back into regular session?
So moved.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay. Doddridge County Public Service District request for SCBG sponsorship. I presume you will tell us what these initials mean.
Sorry for the acronym, Small City Block Grant.
Oh, Small City Block Grant. Okay.
Here's a handout, this is provided by Region 6 Planning and Development Commission. The whole county water study is like 98% done. We have prioritized 3 projects out of different segments. Those are Snowbird, Route 18, the Oxford area, and Route 23, Tarpon, and Big Flint area. Those projects that would lead on out into the county and can be built off of later. Definitive mapping of those 3 projects is just about complete. We're looking for funding sources for all 3. Not all funding sources can be used in different areas because of income levels or lack of or existing economic development. So we have to apply the ones that are appropriate for what we're looking at in the areas. And as they become available, they're not all available at the same time. The Small City Block Grant is that process is coming up on us relatively quickly. It fits the Route 23 Tarpon Big Flint area. Does not fit the other two priority projects, so we wanted to get an application in for it. Local government has to be a sponsor of that. The public service district can, in and of itself, not apply for it. So it needs to be sponsored by the county commission, since we're a county PSD. Region 6, Planning and Development Council does all the work on this, and does all the associated requirements, public meetings, and so on. They work for the city as well when they're applying. So in order to get started, I have been asked by Region 6 and our engineering firm, Alss, to come and request that you all be the sponsor for our small city block grant application, and we'll be working with Region 6 on some paperwork for the commission.
So what is required of the commission? Just for us to sign on the
You'll be the sponsor, you be the applicant name essentially for the public services.
So is there any dollars associated with this sponsorship?
I've got Randall Lewis from E.R. Robinson with me.
How are you today?
I'm not familiar with the process.
The small cities block grants, you can apply up to $1.5 million for a grant.
Okay.
It's one of the few grants left in the state at that size. So the intention of the district is if the commission goes along with that, we'll try to match it up with some RUS grant, loan, and different things to maintain the cost for the customer as good as possible. The small cities grant's very competitive, but it's just such a good program, it's hard not to try for it.
Great. Well, I think that it certainly would behoove us to do that if, I hesitate when somebody says, yes, money's required, but I can't tell you how much. But of course, even if we apply and we get this, and we still have the option at that point of saying we don't have the money or whatever. So
This would be one component of the project.
Okay. So
How many houses, Herky, you mean, how many houses needed?
There's approximately 350, 360 in Dodgers County in this phase.
Now that water would come out of where?
Salem or Sun Valley, one of the two sources right there. There's a 2-inch line across 50, a gas station right there at Salem. Of course, that's not a big enough line, we'll have to go back and put a bigger line across it. And we've talked to both, and they are aware of the project and seem to be very supportive of it.
okay.
Has the people, has anybody came to you, people who live in there and said they want the water or anything like that?
There's been a few.
Okay.
Yeah. And on out Route 23, even more, that are saying that they need water. This one.
So the water crosses Route 50, do those people up on top of that hill with that development, do they have water?
Unless you want development.
To the gas station? Oh, I'm sorry, on the wrong side. So they do have public water at the gas station?
Yeah, very small
Does it
line.
come out into 23 that way?
Not very far.
Not very far.
Not far at
Okay.
all.
To the county line, maybe? It doesn't go that far?
Sure it does.
Door-to-door survey, has it been done?
No, that's the next step with this. That's what Region 6 will work with to do a door-to-door survey of the potential customers. They needed this step to begin their next steps. So there'll also be a public hearing that they'll work with the commission on. I could let you listen for any projects and pick any one to put. I think there'll be 2 public hearings with the process in Region 6.
Okay. Any other questions? No. So you're just needing us to support?
More exactly, I think what we need is for the commission to agree to sponsor our application. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Is there a form for that, or?
I don't think so. I think that
Okay.
probably Sheena from Region 6 will supply the paperwork.
Okay. So, any other discussion?
No.
Do we have a motion?
I got one
Sorry.
question, sorry. You're talking about the water going to Big Flint, is what you're talking about now?
Yes,
Where is this line coming from? You're talking about the gas station at 50 and 23? You're talking about that gas station there has water, and you're going to go from there? What are you talking about? You said there's water at a gas station.
what's the gas station?
That's the go mark there.
Yeah, I think it's to go more back in Salem.
Okay,
We're going, and it's a 2-inch line across to that gas station. So we'll bring water in from right in that point somewhere out 23 and into Dodge.
But you said you'd have to put a different line in,
Yes,
not
not 2-inch
utilize that
2-inch
2-inch
line will
line.
not allow for fire flow and everything.
Right.
so how do you want to get to Big Flint? That's my question.
Let me get my map out. We could,
You said Tarkin.
Did he say Tarkin?
Yeah.
yes.
I didn't hear it.
Yes, Tark.
Okay, then you don't need to get the...
Okay. I learned that you all knew the names better than I did.
Well, I didn't hear you say that.
Yes,
Okay. So you're going to go out 23, you're going to go up Tarpon, back down to Old Route 50, go up towards Big Flint. What about 23 north? Are you going down that way? Not right now or later?
it stops right in there for this phase.
Okay,
And then there'll be an additional phase after this.
okay, thank you.
Big project. If you were to look at all of Douglas County,
Yeah.
it doesn't have water.
Oh, yes. Multiple.
And is Doddridge have the lowest percentage of public water in the state as far as?
I wouldn't doubt that. I don't know that,
I
but
think
it's got to be very, very, very low.
I think I've read that somewhere, that the percentage-wise, the number of citizens in Doddridge County that have the availability of public water is the lowest or among the lowest in the state.
When's the park getting water? Don't tell me you're going to do this phase before the park. Don't tell me that.
What we're going to do is look for funding opportunities that fit these projects, okay? We've eliminated one, or been eliminated on one on the park. The USEVA money is not going to be a good fit for that. So we're looking at other funding sources for that and their availability. This grant does not fit there because of the income requirements. It's not going to work for the park. So, I mean, we're looking, trying to find funding for the park right now. We're going to check with USDA or US and see what that might bring to the project. And is there others that we can look at?
We can look at ARC, again, that's a 50% grant match. We can look at the Infrastructure Development Council. Again, we're trying to maximize the grant dollars that comes into each project. That's one thing the district is directed us to get water, but also maximize grant dollars too, because the cost of water just keeps creeping up services throughout the state. We're looking at every stone possible to get money for it. It'll have to be matched with money, there's no way around it. But we want to make a good mix.
Well, we want to get as much grant money as possible.
Yes.
And that's what we've said from the very beginning. And you most certainly aren't going to get any grants if you don't apply. So, you have any other questions?
No, thank you.
No, we're good.
Okay, do we have a motion for the county commission to sponsor the Small Cities Block Grant application?
So moved.
We've got a motion to approve the sponsorship of the Doddridge County Commission for the Small Cities Block Grant application. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
And I'm sure that once you identify other possibilities, you'll
We also want to come in and we'll come back with D.L. Robinson and present the plan as a whole so that you can see these projects in context of the whole plan, your starting points for getting on out further. We can't start obviously in the middle of someplace that doesn't have water. Water, we have to start where the water is. So we want to come back and do that, and on these three projects, they're working to get them more definition all the time so that we can look at funding sources. Yeah. That's what we got to do.
So basically, you're going to come back and show us the results of the study that we commissioned here.
Right.
8 months or a year ago or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds like it.
Thank you.
Sounds good. All right. Next item on the agenda, Greg Cottrell, Dogwood County Park Funding Request.
Thank you, gentlemen. I believe you have a copy of this, but I'm going to give you something with a little bit more heft to it, has quotes to it. Here you go, sir. As you're aware, the staff and I, since I've arrived, have been assessing all the facilities, all of the needs within the park when it comes to roof repairs, water repairs, bathroom upgrades, etc. So we've been spending the last 6 months assessing what is needed in the park. We have made one request, and graciously you guys said yes and helped us out about 3 months ago. This request is basically to handle a few other items within the park, and after this request, what I plan on doing is working through the budgeting process. Basically, I've already just identified projects for 16, 17, and even 17, 18, and want to not come to the commission and ask for money on a 3 to 4 month rotation. I'd rather work it through the budget process so that you know in advance what projects we'll be working on and what those costs roughly should be. But being so new and identifying some of these shortcomings at the park, now we're following this course of action. So in front of you are 5 items actually, that we've priced out. The first 2 items concern the residents at the park, doing foundation work, as well as upgrades within the facility, in the residence itself. And the costs are outlined there, as well as the quotes attached to those vendors that propose. T&R Masonry, Carpet Outlet, Better View Windows, J&C Home Repair. Those are included in your packet. The second area is an expansion and upgrade to the girls' sleeping area within the lodge. We have discussed, and I've worked a lot with 4-H on this, in that we'll do the girls' side this year, but through the budget process when we submit, we'll plan on doing the boys next year. You guys graciously funded the removal of a large unused water tank that frees up or creates the opportunity to free up about 100 square feet. The second phase of that project is, as you can see here, is outlined with City Construction and Stuart McMunn as a plumber, broken out a plumbing bid as well as a construction contract, and that would increase the number of showers, increase the square footage bathroom area, upgrade a facility that all of you have visited over the course of the last 6 months, I'm sure, knowing that it was in poor repair and needed upgrading. So those are located in your packet also. And then additionally after that is a beautification project, planting trees around various facilities at the park, doing an upgrade to enhance the front entrance, putting trees around the council circle and various other places within the park, and that is detailed in your packet. And then lastly is a request, we have a John Deere tractor that we have not used in about 2 years. That's a 2006, and we would like to trade that in and upgrade to one that has a backhoe, which we could use, as well as a snow blade, and basically a mowing deck also. Gives us a little bit more versatility and replaces a tractor that, in all honesty, is redundant with what we already have and is one that we don't use. So basically 5 projects, residents, or 4. The residents, the girls' shower area, which will help all the retreats, all the church retreats, all the camps that we have, and some work on some beautification projects, as well as a tractor trade-in and upgrade. So your details are located in there. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to entertain them.
Cost?
Oh, it's in your packet. Oh, I'm sorry, you probably don't have a packet. The total for all 4 projects is $102,000. And I have the director for 4-H here to answer questions about the usage of the sleeping facilities on the girls' side, if you would like to answer some specific questions about why we're improving that side and the pressure that's placed on it during the larger camps.
I was going to bring all the girls, but they were slow.
Why did you change your mind?
They're in school today.
So
We might have to move upstairs if it was available.
I will say that Greg allowed me to go out and see, the removal of the big tank, the water tank, and it's just impressive that 100 square feet, how much additional space that gives in the bathroom when you have about 50 girls trying to get into a restroom during that time, so during camp time. So we're looking forward to any improvements there.
it will benefit the park, and it will benefit every group that visits the park. Overnight visits to the park will benefit from improvement to that space. And like I said, 2016-17 budget presentations, when we're there, will make the boys next fall, winter will be in that budget request. So.
Any questions?
Any other questions?
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
The residents at the park.
Yes.
Okay. Tell me, when you get all these repairs done, is somebody going to live there, or have you met remind what's going to do it?
The residents at the park is basically designated for the director.
Yes.
And I think in the very short term, repair to the foundation is necessary to prevent it from further decay, but the director will stay there. And I believe future discussions could be had about if we accomplish the goals and do get RV camping and cabins and things like that. I do think further discussion can be had, whether that's the best high use for that facility. Maybe it's more for offices. But at this time, I think we need to enhance or upgrade the facility and shore up the facility. And in the short term, the director will be living there. Yes.
Okay, that's fine. Is it possible that we could do this in phases?
You can do it in a la carte, yes.
Pick the bathroom first.
Well, I know, I looked at it the other day, last week, and I know that the girls' bathroom, as it stands right now, unless there's been changes made, it's unusable right now.
Well, it's because we demoed the area. We have, if this isn't funded, we have the ability to reset as was.
Right.
Yes.
But I would place a priority on the Residence Foundation and the expansion of the girls' shower. the foundation, is it because of water?
The engineers that have looked at it from Basement Systems as well as the second company both indicated that the result of the cracks in the basement floor sinking upwards of 4 to 5 inches is due to freezing and thawing, raising and settling of that area, yes, which will be addressed when we repair the foundation, yes. It's not, I won't say anything, I don't know if it has to do with construction issues, but it has more to do with groundwater freezing and thawing and impacting the basement and the walls around the house.
There's a slip that runs clear through there, as you all well know. I mean, that road that doesn't hold through there, so clear through to the middle school. So that's an area of
I think there's
movement.
the general location of it is, has some inherent issues, but all of those played together with water and freezing, thawing, and that's caused the foundation of the house to be in significant issues.
I know when I was on the park board, I think that's when the siding was replaced. But other than that, I don't think there's been a whole lot of maintenance on that building, and
I think it's fair to say that is correct. And as we've all seen as we visit the facilities, I think that exists at all 8 facilities that we operate at all 8 buildings that we operate at the park, where increased maintenance, routine maintenance actually, to ensure that our investment, our assets, the county's assets, the park and the park's buildings are being well maintained. We don't want facilities that are in disrepair, and we don't want things that, if not addressed, will farther decay.
I guess my question, well, one question would be, have you explored the possibility of a new building, residence building?
A certain amount. I won't say that we've explored that avenue fully. I think the park board has addressed a replacement, which would entail basically tearing that particular building down and replacing it. I think we've explored that, and this is the option that the park board opted to go with. I think if we were doing it in a different way, that particular location of the residence probably wouldn't have been the first choice. I would agree with that, but I don't think we have an alternative for that right now. I think if we invest in the foundation and upgrades, I feel like that facility will serve the park in whatever capacity, be it a residence or an offices or whatnot, into the future. So.
Greg, on the bathrooms, are they going to be handicap accessible for people to use? I mean,
the downstairs, the sleeping facility will have a handicap toilet as well as one handicap shower, yes. So that will be an upgrade to that facility, yes. Just like we've done in the shelter bathrooms as well as the outside bathrooms, what we call the lower bathrooms on the outside of the building, yes.
Aren't the bathrooms on the main floor of the building, they're not?
No, where the main meetings are held?
Yes.
No, those are not considered handicap accessible because they're too narrow, and we have a plan to address that, but the men's and ladies' bathrooms on the main floor do not qualify as handicap accessible. I do know that a wheelchair person can get in, but technically they do not. And like I said, we have a solution for that, but I don't think timely right now we can address that. Everything we're trying to do is designed to not only fix a problem, but enhance the facility. Basically address the problem and the needs that we see, but then also make it better, be it handicap, lighting, electrical, whatever, plumbing. So, as we identify needs and propose to fix them, we're also going to enhance them, so.
Any other, do you have any questions?
Well, my thing, I understand what you're trying to do.
Sure.
I mean, it all needs updated.
Sure.
But I think some people, if you hear the county say, we'll spend too much money. That's my thing. I had no problem doing it because I know it needs done.
Yeah.
But my thing is, maybe we just prioritize these things, maybe one or two of them now, and then maybe, I mean, we got to talk to Beth and see the money there, because she got no on face.
Yeah. But, and I totally agree with you, and I totally respect your positions and how your decision-making is done, and you have a lot more information at your disposal than what I have. But I don't feel I'll be doing my job properly if I don't present to you the needs.
Yeah, I understand.
And if I know there's an issue and bring it to your attention, and we do an a la carte and come up with 2 or 4 or 3 of these and say those are high priority and do those, that's your decision. But my job is to make sure you have the information you need to make decisions. And at that point, you guys have a lot more information at your disposal to do that. So.
I just hate to put a lot of money into the house if you're going to eventually tear this thing down. I mean, I know maybe the future, you know what the future's going to say.
Yeah. I think that if that is the direction we want to go, I think the foundation is necessary. Otherwise, the decision will be out of our hands, to be honest. But the rest of the information is there for you.
I mean, I think that my personal thing, we go with the foundation. Since Sonia's here bragging up 4-H kids, I think we need to take care of the kids in the county too.
Right.
And maybe the handicap accessible makes the park more appealing to some people who need the handicap accessible.
Certainly.
That's my 2 things right there.
Well, I guess were you finished?
No, yeah.
My question would be on the residence upgrade and repairs. If we did the foundation, could it be moved into?
The park would then take on some repairs and upgrades to that facility, and we would have to try to step up and do so.
So it's going to require some.
It will require some additional work regardless of where the funding comes from.
Whether you got
whether we have 24 or whatnot, that's inconsequential. But some work would have to be done. Yes. Yeah.
How much are you talking about on the house, and how much is the foundation?
The foundation is about $12,000, and that's after getting quotes from various vendors, and the upgrades to the interior flooring, walls, kitchen, and all that is about 24.
Obviously, that sounds like a lot of money, and it is a lot of money. But at the same time, anybody who has either purchased or built a new home, that in today's world, that's not a lot of money. Not a lot of money.
For a facility, as you mentioned, has not had routine money placed into it over the course of its 30-plus year life.
Yeah. If we didn't fund the residence upgrades and repairs, then you're saying the park board would use manpower and
we would use our staff as well as our reserves to make that happen. Not to probably the extent of the quotes, but in some portion of it, yes.
Right. Well, I think, and once again, I was on the park board for some years. And from the park board perspective, they want the Doddridge County Commission to fund it all. From the Doddridge County Commission perspective, we'd like to see some partnership.
Sure.
In my opinion. Now that's my opinion only. And we just recently, as you say, within 3 or 4 months,
3 months.
it was, I believe, 57,000.
Yes, sir.
And so if we fully funded this, that would be almost 160
Yes.
in the last 3 or 4 months.
As I said, my job is just to put the information in front of you.
I understand,
Okay.
and I appreciate that. And a very similar statement was made to us last night, and I wouldn't respect you nearly as much if you said, "Oh, we can get by with $50,000," and then next week or next month you come back, "Well, we need another $50,000."
Yeah, I'm not into cost overruns. I'd rather be upfront as much as possible.
I don't, and I don't have any problem with anybody coming in and asking for help and money from the county commission. It's obviously our decision as to how much and all that.
Certainly. And it is an asset of the county, obviously,
Yeah,
and this
it
is a partnership between the commission and the park commission, so.
And Greg, I will just like to state, Greg's comments initially, this was dropped in his lap. Truly, the girls' bathrooms, the stalls, the bottom of the stalls were rotted off. Oh, you have to stand in front of mine to talk?
Well,
My
that's,
voice really carries well, so
Amplify it.
anyhow. So, it doesn't even sound like it's on.
It is.
So, this stuff was dropped in his lap. And so he's coming to you now, honestly, to just get these things out of the way. So a full budget plan can be presented to the county commission, so you know up front that he has a list of projects. And what I like the most about what they're trying to do right now, it is a comprehensive plan. These are the things for this year, these are the things 5 years from now, these are the things for 10 years from now. And that's how, I really believe planning needs to occur. What are some things that we can build some sustainability that, honestly, if we get some of these things done and in place, revenue will continue to build. If you have a facility where you can house kids comfortably, safely, you can pick up additional camps. They're always looking for places for kids to camp. So I think there's opportunities in these investments.
Thank you.
And to add on to that, and to play off one of Greg's or Commissioner Robinson's comments, it does seem like a lot of money, but I feel, and you guys would know better than I, how much money has actually been spent at the park in maintenance upgrades over the course of the last 20 years. And maybe Mrs. Rogers may know also, but when you're looking at the investment at this point in time, think about a lot of these things could have been done over time, and you would have done incremental funding of these projects across the last 20 years. So I know it seems large now, but as Ms. Hudson said, it's catch-up time, I guess.
well, and I don't know that you were here, to go back to my comments about the maintenance over the years.
Yeah.
Doddridge County in the last 3 years has been in a position that it's never been in before. And county commissioners prior to that time weren't, they weren't misers per se, and they didn't, it wasn't that they didn't want to, but once again, you have to have money in order to do these things. And,
Certainly.
and that drove a lot of these, maintenance postponements, yes. And some of them, we may not have been aware of. I don't, in our own personal homes, you may not know that you got a problem until it's a major problem. Same way out there. What we need to do is to come up with some kind of a solution. Mr. Sandora, do you have any ideas or suggestions?
Well, I'd love to fund the whole project right now. That would be my goal. I've heard you two guys give your input, and I know where he's coming from. Doing a wonderful job out there, and we haven't done any maintenance to the park for who knows how long, probably since it's been built. Yeah, I know it's a lot of money. I agree with both of you. I know it's a lot of money. But I think that it's terribly necessary to have it done. I think we have the money to do it. And my feelings is let him go ahead with the project funding, and next year put it in your budget, and we'll go forward from there.
My goal would be to use the budgeting process to address these things in the future. I mean, unless there's a specific need or an unexpected occurrence, I would rather be working through the budget process, yes.
I know the house, I mean, I haven't seen it, but you told me before what kind of shape it was in. And I think that if the expansion to the park plays out like it should, you're going to have offices in there, and if the house is not suitable for offices, then we have to do it. Sooner or later, we're going to have to face the issue. That's my feeling.
Any other questions?
No, I mean, I understand what Ralph's saying. I understand what you're saying. About the taxpayer, and people say, well, you have to give $102,000 to the park.
Right.
And that's my biggest concern, the taxpayers is saying, why? But I understand what, maybe not, they didn't know upkeep is done for so many years, it needs to be done.
Right.
But my thing is, I think, my personal thing, I would go with the foundation and the bathrooms. I'm done.
Mariana?
Well, thank you, Mr. Robinson. I think one of the things you need to realize, as far as I'm concerned, is you have to spend money to make money.
Yeah.
Over the last year, as a county resident and a taxpayer, I have seen you agree to a new library at the cost of what, $1.8 million. I've seen the bridge put in at the park for the potential of expanding the park facilities, okay? The stuff that Mr. Cottrell, Ms. Hudson are discussing are things that will ultimately benefit the residents in this community. It will benefit the children. There is no place in this county, other than the camps that occur at the park, for the kids to go to. So if you have shower facilities that are non-existent, yeah, that's definitely a priority. If you have a foundation that's fallen apart, like he said, either tear the building down to prevent a liability of somebody that's in it getting hurt, or move on with it. And, prioritizing what happens, I appreciate what Mr. Travis is saying, is good. Take care of the immediate need. But the other thing that I would really like to see incorporated into this park is the sustainability in solar. Okay, I mean, and there are grants and stuff available to assist with that.
Sure.
It's just a suggestion.
Yeah. Well, I think
Thank you.
Thank you. From a park standpoint, I mean, we're open to all suggestions, and there's a lot that we can do. There's a lot of opportunities. So, you know, anything that we can do to lessen expenses and increase activity and increase visitation. And we're actually, in 2015, we had 32 nights of stay at the park, which in all honesty is not a lot when you consider 9-10 months of operation per se. We already have more in 2016 nights from retreats and camps booked in 2016 than we had in 2015. And maybe some of that's from the momentum that the improvements we're doing. So I feel like there's an increased excitement and an increase in momentum of people utilizing the park. So, you know, I appreciate your comment.
And I will tell you, Greg is partnering with all types of groups. I mean, you heard with the VFW as far as their pavilion, what they're trying to do there. We're going to help them submit a Parkersburg Community Foundation grant for, you know, hopefully to support that project. I just received $10,000 from EQT to do a walking trail at the park that has a science-based connection with it. So he's partnering with many groups as he possibly can to get them out there, get them involved, and have them be, you know, contributing also. So yeah, I've always said the park 4-H, we have tried to be one of the most supportive partners to that park. I utilize it a lot. You all know that. We have a big barn out there, and we bought the beds and the mattresses for the downstairs, and we always want to be a partner in helping them move forward. So it's a win-win, you know, when you can play together and work together for a common cause.
I think the overall priority of the park is to expand its season into 12 months. I mean, in some regards, we maybe not have operated in a 12-month calendar. I think we need to expand our operation, but then also there's holes in the calendar during the weekdays and off season, the May through August time, where we need to be creative in bringing people in and running our own events and running our own recreational programs and things like that. So there's a lot of opportunity for expansion of our offerings to the public. And so, you know, that's a whole different avenue of discussion, you know, as opposed to facility needs. But I do think, I mean, I'm nothing but excited about the opportunities and what the park can mean to this county. So.
Well, you know, my only concern, I mean, I think all of these things are needed. My only concern is, you know, we as the county commission, and I guess we've probably fostered this as much as anybody, giving people the impression that we just have oodles and oodles of money. And granted, we're a whole lot better than we were, right. But what we have to be careful of is, you know, 100,000 here and 100,000 there, and pretty soon, you know, that large severance tax check that we got kind of disappears. You know, and that's what we have to be careful of. You know, I don't think that it's going to be a problem in the future, but heaven only knows, I don't want to be in the situation like Nicholas County is in and have a $5 million budget reduction. And so, you know, I just want to be, I guess, to start spreading the word of caution that we have to be careful. You know, and this really doesn't have anything to do with county commission business, but all you have to do is look at lottery winners and bankruptcies of lottery winners. And for the most part, those are people that just average, ordinary, everyday people. And you'd think, if you've got $1 million coming in for 29 years, you ought to be able to live on that. But, you know, you just, you know, because when you win the lottery, who are you going to hear from? You're going to hear from your relatives. Well, the Dobbins County Commission has a lot of money.
And you got a lot of relatives.
We got a lot of relatives. So that, you know, that's what I have to, you know, kind of put the brakes on, so to speak.
And let me say this, I completely respect all of your positions on this. And if you weren't judicious about it and really thought about it and tried to decide what the best option was, you know, I would be hesitant in what you're doing. But if you're truly wanting to study these and figure out what's best and do that's great. Because I think if you're doing it for me, you're doing it for everybody else and making the best decisions. So you're not offending me by asking questions or calling into question what I'm putting forward. So, not at all.
And I agree. I mean, take the time to speak with Beth, look at your budget, you know, what does the budget look like till July 1? I mean, do your research, you know what's in the best interest of the entire county. Don't cut yourself short.
She gives us reports every meeting, and like I say, you know, I hate to say this, but it's not a problem right now.
Yeah.
But
you still want to be good stewards of the funding. I recognize that. I appreciate it too.
It's not a problem financially, possibly, but it's the prudent use of the money.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
Mark's gonna make money, go ahead.
Can I say something like
Yes.
this? I mean, I'm an elected official, so money, obviously, county money is a concern of mine too, because it funds my office. And it funds the people who work for me, and I appreciate that, and I know what they're up against and what they have to deal with. But as a citizen, the park is, I have no problem with the library. I think that once they get into it, the citizens are going to see that it's a much more valuable asset than what they can realize right now. Yeah. But because it is going to have an opportunity for different organizations to use it, the conference room and all that. But the park is one of Doddridge's main assets. It's the one thing that really brings people into the county from outside. And I've been here, worked in the county clerk's office since '88. We've done repairs for the pool house, and we've done repairs, we've built a fence out there, and we've done things like that. But when it comes to like maintenance on the rooms that the kids use and maintenance on the residents, I don't remember them coming in and keeping those things up. And to me, the park is one of the greatest things that we have as a county. And like Mariana said, it brings in money. It has the potential of bringing in more money for the county. You bring in people, you bring in money. And not just the park, but here in town even. And so I just, whether they do it in increments, however they do it, I think it is important that these repairs and these things get done. Even the beautification. You have a beautiful place that people come and they see it, they're going to tell their friends. And more people are going to come. And with what the park is doing out there, the way they're expanding it, it's going to bring in more people. And the better we can make it look, the better. I mean, I've heard people complain about the bathrooms out there for years and years. I hated to go to the fair or anything because I was afraid I'd have to go to the bathroom. And I didn't want to go.
Wait till you see them now.
Okay.
I'm coming out. I want to see it. And I just think it's an awesome project. And however the commission decides to fund it, I don't think they can lose on it. Because I think it's going to be a good thing for the county. I think it is a good thing for the county. and I think it's gonna make it better. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, it is like the crown jewel of the county. It really is. And, you know, my kids have done sports and athletics all through school. They're out of it now. But there's one event that occurs at the county park where there's almost 3,000 people that show up in one day to that park to use the facility. And that's the middle school cross-country meet. And it's practically become the state meet. I forget how many counties were there, 45 counties that showed up for one day, for one meet. And the comments that we hear from people is how amazing your park is. We don't have anything like this in our county. And, you know, I understand balancing the budget, and it is a showcase of our county. People come in, they see it, and they'll be back. Trust me, they'll be back. That event's grown from 20 schools to 45 schools, and just over the course of 12, 15 years. So it is an important part of the county.
Well, I don't want anybody to think that I'm negative. I mean, I was on the park board for many years, and that's one of my first loves for the county, if you want to call it that. But you know, we as commissioners wear many hats, and you've probably seen today that I've been kind of negative and maybe beaten up on, but that's okay, because that's what I was elected for. But we're starting to see the floodwaters rising, and the floodwaters are the requests. And if I were sitting in his position, I'd be saying, hey, yeah, let's go ask for money. They got lots of money. What we have to do is just be careful. And, you know, as much as anything, what I'm trying to get across is, yes, we have some money, but no, it's not endless. And so that's my position.
And I don't mean to think,
Well,
I'm not being
Yeah.
negative towards you guys at all. I mean, I really believe you have the best interest in, you know, but I just think this is one of the projects that really will benefit Dobbridge overall.
Yeah, and like I said, you know, the park holds a special place in my heart. But I want to see it done. And I hope that all of these are, you know, you can fix a problem, and then you can upgrade or maintain. And I hope that this is upgrading and maintaining, because I've learned in my latter years, if you fix it, you're probably going to have to deal with it again in 3, 4, 5 years.
I'd like to say I like to fix things and hope that it's fixed and maintained ongoing, because I don't want to revisit issues, I don't want to revisit projects. We want to fix things, and there's other lists out there. I've got a list of things to be done, so I don't want to be revisiting these things. There's a lot of things that we're going to do that the public doesn't see. You know, plumbing is not a sexy thing to fix, but if it doesn't work, someone's going to complain.
It's a real tragedy.
So, you know, in a roof or something, and it's not as visible to the public, electrical issues or plumbing issues, as putting a fireplace in. But when you're trying to build up your clientele, and you need all these things to work.
Okay.
Tim.
Would the bathrooms, even if you put them back together again, would they pass health standards if the health department was called in?
Well, the health department
Yeah.
inspects us every year, and they pass us. They've passed us in the past, so I'm assuming yes.
Okay. The house, where are you living if you're not living out of the house? That's part of the
Right.
directors.
We, nearby.
Okay.
So if we agreed to all this, what would you do as far as, of course, that's between you and the park board, as far as that particular issue?
Oh, no, I can be honest, I'll move in. Once it's fixed. But right now, I'm not living there, obviously, because it's not completely habitable, certainly. So, but if there's any other questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Otherwise, all in.
I think you answered all of them. Thank you.
All right,
So
so
we make a motion?
the floor is open.
You ready for a motion, or you got more discussion?
No. Do you have any more discussion?
No, I know what Ralph wants to say.
Well, Ronnie, here's the way this
I know how it
proceeds.
works.
Yeah, somebody makes a motion, and we have to deal with that motion before
Yeah.
That's right, you do.
before we move on.
Right.
We have to deal with it in some way.
Right. So you ready for a motion?
Yes.
I'll move that we give the park whatever they asked for, 100 some thousand, whatever the exact total is.
102.
102, I move we give them 102,000, let them go on with the project.
Okay? I don't think there's any need for further discussion. I think we just about beat this horse.
We beat it.
We beat it.
We philosophized enough.
All right, we've got a motion to grant the park $102,301.36 for these 4 items or projects listed here in the information we've been provided. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion carries.
We get it though, I do get it. Thank you guys, pardon me?
I have no problem with it.
I understand, fully understand.
I think I'm gonna have a heart attack.
Thank you.
Great.
I'm taking mine.
And you guys are so welcome to come out and spend the night.
We're all that preaching.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you.
Do I feel all right?
Betty, come up here and check in and see if you've got a fever. You preached for an hour.
You all right?
What?
You all right?
I see Beth left and she has to go find the money, is that?
Butch,
She's got, where is it? Oh, you know.
Butch, since you brought that up,
Yeah, we need it.
I tried to explain why I was doing that.
I know.
Okay,
See you, buddy.
see ya.
Take it easy.
It was my argument.
We'll have to go to the bathroom here pretty soon.
Well, we'll have to decide whether we're going to lunch here in a little bit. All right, injection well ordinance is the next item on the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay. The hearing for the preliminary injunction does not happen until the 11th day of February. So I know what the grounds for the lawsuit is. They're pretty major. There are 9 different grounds, ranging from West Virginia legislative preemption to West Virginia and United States Constitution issues. My suggestion is that I know it's going to be kind of difficult to do this for you guys because you want to see something happen, but to table this until Fayette County lets this play out, because we don't know what the federal court's going to do with it. There's no sense in kind of diving in and trying to write ordinances when that language is in question by the higher courts. We can keep an eye on it and, kind of see how Fayette County's dealing with it. And then once we have a resolution as far as how the court's going to rule, then we can see what direction we need to go. There is a clause or a paragraph in here about the county commission in Fayette County overstepping their power as far as zoning as well. So I think by all counts, the prudent thing to do is to table this and wait until those issues are resolved in the higher court. The hearing on the 11th is just a preliminary injunction. It won't be the end all of the case. It will just be basically the court will take argument as to why there needs to be time or whether or not there's a reason to halt the enforcement of the ordinance until the whole case can be presented by both sides. So I can't give you a time frame, but I would propose that it get tabled until some definitive movement is made, and then at that time you guys can revisit it. Randy and I both can keep an eye on it, as well as there are a couple Dodgers County citizens that are keeping me kind of updated on what they're hearing. Mariana is one of them from Fayette County itself and the people working with them. So I think we've got kind of the eye on the issue. We just need to keep an eye on it and make the moves when it's prudent to do so.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So, do we have any motions?
Guess you expect me to make it?
I don't know, not necessarily.
I'll move we table it. So,
For the advisement of our legal counsel?
that's good. That's it.
Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
And I gave Randy a copy of the complaint, so if you guys want to look at it, you can. And I can email it to you. Mariana actually got it before I was able to get it, so I can email it to you as well.
And let me personally revisit the last county commission meeting. Mariana, it was because we had already made that decision to table it, and there wasn't anything else to say. And forgive me for saying this, but we probably all knew what you were going to say anyway. So that was the reason that I didn't want to hear your comments. So anyway, next item on the agenda: resignation and appointment of county coroner.
Did anybody get any letter? I didn't get no letter. You didn't get no letter? I didn't get one yet. Table. I mean, we table until we receive proper document.
Is this an appointed position or a paid position, or what is this?
It was appointed by the commission, and the only pay that they get is when they go on a call. That's the only pay they receive.
Per job basis?
Yeah.
Basis.
Am I right, George?
If you don't have a county coroner right now, then who's taking care of it? if somebody would die and they need the coroner in Doddridge County, while you're waiting around, who's taking care of it?
It's still official.
And the state sends the next nearest one from whichever county.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still officially Phyllis until she resigns.
Right.
So, if Phyllis isn't able to do it, then
The
that's
state-
when
yeah,
the
they
state
have
will
to
send
let us
one.
know.
You did send a letter, I didn't.
No, Randy and I have talked,
Oh,
and we're gonna send one, but
oh,
I don't wanna send it by myself.
Oh.
Because I didn't want it to sound like we were telling Phyllis, hey, you need to resign.
okay.
So,
Okay.
I did talk to Randy about it, and we're gonna kinda come up with something together. And I think we probably can just call Phyllis and say, hey, you know,
Well, you do whatever you want.
so.
I didn't make any calls because I didn't think it was my place to do that when we have Randy, have you,
Yeah,
legal,
and that's fine.
legal appointment.
Yeah,
And I think when we get to the appointment of a new one, I think we may need a process that we go through to see
submit names.
qualified candidates, yeah, and maybe talk to them, I don't know, but we'll,
You mean that 5? Is that allowed?
well, are we going to take a 5-minute break, or are we going to take a lunch break?
Well, I'd say if we stay at work through lunch, just give me a break right now.
All right,
Unless you guys don't want to work through lunch.
That's work.
Let's work.
fine with
Well, you
me.
guys go ahead and continue, I'm going back. I have to, okay?
Okay,
Go ahead. Continue on. I can hear you out there.
okay. We won't take any votes until you get back, Butch, so hurry up.
Randy and I we're gonna get together and,
See what's,
yeah, see
What's necessary
what
there.
kind of process, but we'll also get a hold of Phyllis. And I just didn't want her to feel like I was calling as the county attorney and saying, hey, you need to resign, if that wasn't, you know,
yeah,
if she hadn't made her mind up, or if she had just said, told Ralph that.
okay, the next item on the agenda is downstream strategies water testing. I believe that we had approved this prior to this time, although we didn't have an actual contract. The estimated cost is $1,950 or $975 per sampling visit. The contract is pretty much like the previous one, other than the prices. Okay,
And they plan to do their first testing March, April, May.
somewhere through there. All right, well, we'll hold on till Butch comes back in.
What was the total again, Greg? I can't remember.
$1,950 total, or $975 per sampling visit. 2 visits. He talks about me talking, huh? As I had indicated, Butch, the Downstream Strategies LLC contract is for $1,950 or $975 per sampling visit. Randy indicates that the contract is like the previous one, except for 2 visits versus 4 per year. Do we have a motion to approve the contract?
$1,950 per visit
No, 1,900.
for 2 visits.
Yeah, or $975 per visit.
Oh, okay. What was they charging us before?
I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was 1,770, but there were, there's 4 visits, but they're dropping because they said that it wasn't, they didn't feel it was necessary. They're dropping the number of items tested, was my understanding.
Okay.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve downstream strategy bid.
We have a motion to approve. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, we are down to the OES floodplain report. All right.
I'll try to make this quick so you guys can get out of here for lunch.
It's okay, I've already had a break, buddy.
I'll go ahead with the floodplain permits. There's 4 permits. We also have 4 calls for assistance. The first permit, 16410, this is going to be a water and gas line in the Oxford area. That's through cone gathering. The next permit is 16411. This one's not in the floodplain, and this is for Monongalia Power Company, and it's for a distribution line project. The next permit is 16412. This is EQM gathering, and this is also a pipeline. This one's in the Arnold Creek and South Fork Hughes River area. And the last one is not in the floodplain, and this is a pipeline for Ontario, and that's in New Mountain House area. I'll go through the run reports real quick. For the month of January, Doddridge County Sheriff's Office had 83 runs, West Union Police 5, and in West Union, West Virginia State Police heard 24 calls. For EMS, the Doddridge County Ambulance Authority 145, Doddridge County EMS 11 emergency runs, 169 transports, and more we had 0. For Harrison County, we had 1, and for Ritchie County 2. West Union Volunteer Fire Department, 5 calls. Greenwood Volunteer Fire Department, 10. Smithburg, 24. McClellan, 10. And Banks, 9. And then there were no response, refused calls. There were 17 of those in the county. The next thing I'll address is the last meeting. I was asked about the boil water notices. Did a little work here. Went over, I talked to Joe Cross, and I wanted to find out exactly how the notifications are done. Joe said he sends out a notice. It goes to all the TV stations in the area, all the radio stations. The 911 center gets that, and they announce it on radios, scanners, and pagers. The newspapers get it. It's also posted at Town Hall and the courthouse. It's also posted on the internet, on the news sites, and on the 911 center's site as well, plus several people posted on their Facebook sites. You can also give Joe your email address. He will put you on the list, and you can automatically be notified the minute it happens. The health department also notifies, they send it out as a blast fax. That goes out to all the Doddridge County schools, every employer in the county, and basically anybody with a fax machine, they get a copy of it. I called the health department and discussed the warrant system with them. Warrant system is basically similar to what the school system uses, and the problem with that is the numbers have to be input. It's only tested. All the numbers, any phone number you wanted, if you wanted to be notified, they'd have to input that, and it would cost. Right now, the health department pays $1,750 for the system, and it has a limited amount of calls that can be made per year. Anything more than the limited amount would be extra. Like I said, there's also that price included for tech support. If we were to add that, we'd have to put a countywide listing into the system, which means somebody would actually input every phone number, cell phone number, and email address into it to do it. So it would be a cost. Right now, the way it looks, there's quite a few places that somebody can get that information for free. So it would be something we'd have to look at, cost versus is it worth for the 4 or 5 times maybe. After I did the week of January 18th through the 22nd, if you note, I have the report on the storm that we had, the winter storm. I'm not going to get too much into the report. I'll just go over the basics that we had with it. We had 9 shelters available. The senior center was actually open, but was not manned, but it was open. The heat was on. I did make a lot of these things known because I didn't want things to just show up in there. I wanted to be able to account for people, so I wanted to be able to track them. The park facility, I want to thank you gentlemen for approving that project, because by approving that, it also improves the shelter. Because of the girls' bathrooms, the access and everything else, it's still considered a shelter. With that, the shelters, most of the fire departments were open throughout the storm. The park facility, I want to thank Greg publicly for staying overnight. He stayed there overnight, and he ensured that the parking lot used an old tractor with a blade on the back to keep it plowed. So improving with the plow would be a great improvement and would help to keep their parking lot clear. During that time, we had about 18 to 20 inches, give or take, depending on where you're at. They had 5 homes were reported without power, and all were restored the same afternoon. There were 5 medical calls and 1 vehicle accident. A lot of people heeded the warning to stay off the roads as much as possible. We opened up the Facebook page for the Douglas County Emergency Manager, and I've been continually putting stuff out for people just to give them information, weather updates, that kind of thing. Deficiencies that we found in this, the Douglas County High School, this was listed as a main shelter. It doesn't have a generator, so it's something we'll have to look at and address at some point. I've asked the state if there's money in funding, so we'll have to look at grants. They said that
I heard
as we go.
Rick Kaufman talking about that the other day for dedication about the shelter, needing a generator up there. I'm not sure what he was talking about. But
I haven't discussed with them. I've been trying to reach out to them, but have not gotten anything back from them yet. As far as the shelters are concerned, we have a lack of supplies. We do have access to about 100 cots over the 911 center. And here again, if the storm would affect everybody in the area, those cots would be gone. We did have enough, to shelter the people at the park facility. But once, we have that gone and the fire department's recovered, we're kind of lacking. I have some areas I'm looking at in ways of getting funding or maybe even supplies through the military, but I have to find out. The people that have given me this information, whether it's valid or not. The VFW diner that was designated as shelter and as command center, Greg had contacted me. If you look at his report, he had made contact with them to ensure that they would have food and stuff available. The unfortunate thing was the facility was closed. I went back there Saturday night when I went through to check the county. I drove through the county, and they were just getting a parking lot cleared. So it's something I'll have to discuss with them to see if in the event we do have an area where they can't get to, we're going to have to come up with alternate places to feed people. The Smith shelter, upon contacting several people, and you'll see who I've talked to, they had no gas for the generator. The generator's hooked up, but they only get gas a couple of times a year. So we're going to have to address maybe putting a LP tank out there and utilizing it that way. Discussed with Banks Volunteer Fire Department. They had the generator on site, but it's not connected. So we'll have to address that and see how we get that done as well. Plowing, we discussed, you gentlemen graciously agreed to the funding. So that'll take care of some of it. The Dodge County Ambulance has already called me in the middle of the storm. Their contractor canceled the contract to plow. So I tried to get the Department of Transportation out there to do so. I haven't gotten a call to see if they actually did or not. They were out there with shovels by hand, shoveling the parking lot to get their ambulances out. So that's an address that we're going to have to look at. And then the other thing that we noted was the lack of shelters to the north and south of the county. Greg Cockle and Amanda Sending from the Health Department.
Bless you.
Thank you.
From the Health Department, we're working on this through the LEPC. and it was something that they noted, and then we'll be looking for more shelters in those areas in the event something happens. I did contact the church down there in the St. Clair area, and she had the room, she had the facilities for, but no generator. So we're going to have to identify some more places for shelters and then look for funding for equipment to keep them running. I also had several people ask me why we did the proclamation for the emergency state of emergency. And it's basically just a formal request for help in the event you need it. During the 911, prior to that, people would just show up. There's no accountability. If somebody gets sick, hurt later on, we don't know if anybody even asked you to show up. So we do this in advance. It also helps when you want to track and the resources, and then if you're requesting funding later on, which fortunately for us, we didn't really have that much expenditures during the storm, so we're really not going to need the funding through the federal or state government. And that was it for the storm itself. Wasn't a whole lot, like I said. If you'd like, the report is there. On the generator for the radio station, last meeting, there were several people that asked. He had just contacted me about a half hour before the meeting started. I contacted him. I told him I would get with Price Electric. I called them the next day. They said they would get in contact with him. I called them a follow-up on Monday. That was the week prior to. I called up after the storm to verify that they had contacted the radio station that I had. And they said as soon as the weather clears enough that they can get out there up on the hill to get the generator going, they'll do so, and they'll make contact with Oliver, and they'll also contact me as well. And then the only other thing we had was the transportation accident. We had a school bus accident, no injuries out there in Elkhorn Run. That was bad.
What's wrong with the Banks Department generator? I mean, is gas not hooked up to it or what?
Which one?
Banks.
I don't know. He just said it wasn't hooked up. He didn't elaborate. We were over at the Apple store that day, and he didn't elaborate. We were kind of trying to get stuff done, so I'll get with him, and we'll find out. I have a meeting with the fire chiefs. If they all show up on the 11th of this month, and we'll discuss the issues that we had. There are things that we're also going to discuss, mapping, funding, educational stuff like that, and we'll see where that goes. Any questions, Jim?
I got one question you probably don't,
Yes, sir.
you probably don't know the answer, because you wasn't here. When we got the generator for Smith School, did anybody here notice there was no gas available?
They said they
I didn't
had
know
plenty of
anything about
gas. Plenty of gas.
Huh?
I don't think that it was ever questioned if there was enough gas. They said that they had access to free gas.
Now they're saying they only get it a couple times a year.
Yeah, that was what I talked to, and the gentleman's name is in my report that I talked to. And he said he wouldn't be open because he doesn't have any gas. So it'll be something we have to address.
Well, is it a thing maybe that the gas,
Freezes?
it freezes up or?
I don't know. He didn't elaborate, and it's something I have to go out there and look.
Yeah.
The issue is also the generator probably hasn't run.
Right.
It hasn't been tested, so we're going to have maintenance prior to hooking it up again and getting it going, because it's probably not run since it was put in. So there's a lot of issues with that one. We'll have to address it through the LEPC, and we'll work on getting those issues done.
Shouldn't the contractor be somewhat responsible for that? It was Christ Electric that installed all those.
And I'm not sure, but I think there's a contract for maintenance, but I don't know. I have not seen one.
It seems bizarre that someone would install a generator and not make sure there's enough gas to propel it.
And there may have been when they installed it, but
If I recall right, they were going to install the generators, and it was the county's responsibility to provide
The gas.
If you remember, there was a situation out at the DCAA, and they had to do some additional work because maybe the piping wasn't large enough. I think that was it. The piping wasn't large enough, so they had to. to do that? Is it anybody, does that ring a bell with anybody else?
They
I thought
did,
they had to put a propane tank out there.
They may
Because
have.
they couldn't get the natural gas.
Mhm.
They had to put a propane tank for the generator.
And that may be what we might have to do here in the Smith facility. You know,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be a whole lot, but it's something we'll have to look at if they can't get the fuel that they need to run it.
Yeah, it was never brought to our attention that they only had natural gas for a couple months of the year. I do know that, and I guess we kind of assumed that all the generators were up and running.
Excuse me, go ahead. Unfortunate that this is when we found out when we might need it. The good part was we didn't, and we did find the deficiencies, and we can correct them in the event
Right.
something else happens. We'll be ready.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you know, you learn from these things and you say, okay, that's not going to happen in the future because we're going to resolve this issue or we're going to try. And so that's what we have to do.
Anybody else? No? Thank you.
Thank you, George.
You're welcome.
Okay. We have a budget revision, correct?
Okay, what it is, it's for, okay, there's two on this state budget revision. You donated $100,000 to the park a while back. It wasn't in their budget, and I'd taken out contributions, and I got to thinking about it. It's for county assets and stuff that needed to come out of the park's capital project account. So I need to move it from money into the capital project account because it wasn't enough in there to cover that $100,000. And then I've added the other $102,302 that you approved today.
Okay.
And then the other is, we have John Kimball working at 4-H Extension Office. They reimburse us from their levy with that, but there was not enough put into that account to cover it until they reimburse us. So I added $1,500 to cover that because he worked over Christmas and he'll probably work a few other days, and there wasn't enough in there to pay for that. So I'm just putting money where it needs to pay some bills.
Okay, so it's a total of $203,802, of which $202,302 applies to the Parks and Recreation, which includes today's approval, and the $1,500 for John Campbell. Do we have a motion or any discussion? We've got a motion to approve. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. You're getting hungry, Ron.
Burning.
Okay. Oh, and we have an exoneration, right?
Yes, sir.
The exoneration amount is 54. Whoa. Did I see that? Oh, we have two. That's why. The first one is $26.82, and the second one is $54.04.
Yeah.
Do we have a motion to approve? We have a motion to approve $26.82 and a $54.04 exoneration. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
That's going to be buried in the property beside it. And it's radioactive. And it's got all of the benzene and the chlorines and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's
Now, we're in the present signs of exoneration.
yes, we need to start this, but it also needs to include that part. Okay.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Something smells like burned.
Okay.
Is there something with that name? One point in time, something's burning.
Oh,
Something's burning.
You done, Tammy?
yes.
Okay.
I sat too long in this spot.
Okay,
That's for you.
No, you haven't.
we don't have any probate orders? Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'll just give them to you. I'll let them there, come on.
Okay.
Hi, Ben, call the word lunch for us. Call the word lunch for us, county pay for it. It's less than $25.
Who's paying for it?
County is.
Oh,
County.
well, then we have to stay all night. That's the only way they can.
Yeah. I'm sleeping in this room here.
Yeah.
I'm sleeping in this room.
So you all have to get a sleeping bag or something. I have another one, Greg, can you see it?
Hey, Mike,
Yeah.
if that picture comes up pretty good, can I have one of them?
If the, oh, yeah, sure. Yeah. You want me to email you a digital copy or I can?
You would email me a copy?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can go over to Michael's and get a couple actual prints made if you want. That's,
Do that for me if you would, I'll pay you for them.
yeah, sure.
Okay.
Picture?
You have another one, so.
Okay.
Picture?
Yeah, the picture.
Yeah, like that one.
You want a print?
Please.
Okay.